What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, we're going to have the game preview for the Broncos. And of course, the Friday injury report at the time I'm recording this, not out yet, but I'll get that information to you guys as soon as possible. I'm going to use kind of what I know and what we can expect going into the game. Feel like we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to see at this point. So going into this and getting straight into this, I think this is going to be kind of a battle of two teams that are going to operate in similar ways, honestly. And I think the game plan for the Colts is going to be very similar in this one, at least on the defensive side, going to be very similar as it was in the Miami game when you talk about what you're trying to do to the quarterback. So we'll start there, right? Thinking about what our defense did. We heard Xavier Howard talk about how he kind of clued in to the defense like, hey, we need to clog the middle of the field, make sure Tua can't be able to just have free reign thrown to the middle of the field. And we saw any success that they had in terms of offense for the Dolphins was when he was throwing on slants or crossers through the middle of the field, and they were able to get some chunk gains. You know, of course, they had some of the screen game to Devon Achane and getting the ball in his hands, but when we look at what the Dolphins were able to do for the little bit that they did get against our defense, it was when they were generally thrown to the middle of the field. But we did a good job, and we forced a couple turnovers, right, when we were clogging those lanes, right? Grover Stewart getting the internal pressure and making Tua throw the ball too high, goes over Tyreek Hill. Cam Bynum's there in the right spot to be able to pick it off. Latu dropping back and clogging the middle, and ends up making the right read and gets the interception, right? So going up against a team who just had 2 interceptions thrown and 2 fumbles lost, right? 4 turnovers, and they were still able to win. Titans, about as bad as I figured they were going to be. But when you look at the Broncos, like you got to give their defense credit for being able to do that. They do have a stout defense. They're good up front. They're good on the back end. So what are we going to have to do in this game? I think this is going to be a game plan where offensively for the Colts, the game plan is going to change a little bit, right? You're not going to go against the Dolphins. It was like they have so many secondary injuries. They're not great at corner, not great in the secondary overall outside of Mink Fitzpatrick. So go ahead and take advantage and throw the ball. And that's exactly what they did, right? Daniel Jones having a good day. Combined yards was, 298 between run and pass, right? Over 270 yards passing for Daniel Jones. 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing on the QB sneaks. And in this one, like you look at what Jonathan Taylor did last year against the Broncos, the offense started getting rolling on Jonathan Taylor's back, right? And this year, we're going to have a more balanced attack. Obviously, we saw from week 1 that when you put a quarterback in this system that can run the offense, it's not making mistakes. He's going through his reads. He's making the right reads. He's getting the ball out of his hands at the right time. Like from that aspect, you're going to have to respect it. And we did a lot of play action in week 1. And in order to do that, you're going to have to get Jonathan Taylor going. And when you look at the offensive line, right? Look at the offensive line, especially the interior. That's where this game is going to be won or lost. And I think that's where offensively we can take advantage, is running up the middle on the Broncos. Take advantage of their edge rushers who are really good, right? And those guys are going to want to come after Daniel Jones and put him under pressure, right, with what we've seen throughout Daniel Jones' career. The objective for them is going to be, hey, if we pressure him, he'll make mistakes. So if they're going to be rushing up the field, then this is an opportunity for the interior, the offensive line that did a really good job. Mack and Savez did a really good job as a run blocker. Bortolini did a really good job as a run blocker, and then you have Big Q up there. So I think if we can run internal, right, on the interior of that defensive line, if we're able to run and start to get Jonathan Taylor going, we can cause some massive problems for that defense and start to get them unbalanced. Right now, they have Vance Joseph. They're going to send blitzes. The Dolphins sent plenty of blitzes, and we did a good job offensive line with their communications. Daniel Jones with his protection sets. They did a really good job being able to pick up all kinds of different things, all the different blitzes, all the different, middle A gap things where the, what do they call it, a dog a dog blitz, I think is what they call it, with the linebackers at crisscross and being able to pick those things up. And that's what's going to be thrown at him in this game. Vance Joseph is going to disguise. That's where like the Broncos and Colts defense are like very similar, right? So this game is really unpredictable because both of these offenses are going against these defenses in practice, so they have somewhat of an understanding of what they're going to be looking at. Now, one thing, looking back at this last game, going back to Gage at Broncos Syndicate, he had a video earlier this week about Bo Nix and going over Bo Nix's tape and looking at the mistakes that he made and going back and looking at Bo Nix's career, even though he was good last year, right? The mistakes that he makes, even as I guess not necessarily a young player. He's young in the NFL. He's like 25, 26 years old in his second year. But he's a guy that if you can take away his first read, right? If you're able to disguise things and you're able to give him a look at the line of scrimmage, and then once the snap happens, you change that look, you drop into where he thinks he's going to be able to go, right? And then you're making him think about it. And by the time he's figuring out what's going on, we have DeForest Buckner-Grover-Stewart who can get that internal pressure, right? And then you have whoever we have on the edge. Latu may not be playing, so Ebicom had a really good first game. If Latu's out, we're going to depend on him heavily in this game. JTT, Kwity Paye, right? Tyquan Lewis. You're looking at these guys, and that defensive front is going to need to put that pressure on Bo. If we can keep things disguised, if we can stay disciplined and be able to execute the defense, we can force more turnovers in this game. Like, the turnovers will be there if you can force Bo Nix to hold on to the ball, and then when he has to make a quick decision, right? He's not a guy that likes to throw the ball away. He has got a strong arm. He believes in himself, and he thinks he can do it all. And you got to use that against him, right? And I'm a Bo Nix guy. I love that kind of confidence in a quarterback, but you have to use that confidence against him. Use his strengths against him and make him a weakness in this game. And so I think at the end of the day, from what we saw in week one, again, the game plan for the defense should be very similar. So if they're able to continue to do those things, they're able to use different blitzes and be able to get after the quarterback. And if you can hit the quarterback early, you get him to start looking at the rush, and then that first read, you take that first read away, and everything gets more difficult after that. Right? Now, you can say that from the other side. They start getting to Daniel Jones early, it can make things complicated. So this is why this is a hard game to read. I think this is going to be one of the better games. Offensively, defensively, it might not be the most high-scoring game, but I do think that this is going to be an incredible chess match for the people that are interested in the chess match that is football. This is going to be one of those, right? Now, they obviously have Sean Payton, who's been doing this a long time, right? So they could have, the edge from that regard. But overall, I think these are two talented teams going at it. And if we can force the turnovers, then of course, when you force turnovers, you have a high probability of winning. The way Daniel Jones operates and what we saw him operate against the Dolphins, right, getting the ball out quickly, finding the right read, taking the check down, taking what the defense is going to give you, right, doing all those things. Like he runs Shane's offense well. At least in week one, he ran it really well. So going against the Broncos, we need to see that again. Right now, as Colts fans, of course, we're like, okay, you did it one time. Let's see if you can do it again. This is a much tougher test. Let's see if you can do it again. So this is going to say a lot about what the Daniel Jones experience is going to be like, right? And it's still at the very beginning, but much tougher test. Week one, aced it. A+ on the test. Week two, how's he going to come out of this one? So again, we've talked offensively, defensively. The game plan for the defense, same as it was against the offense. Make Bo Nix hold the ball just a smidge longer than he wants to, and hope that you can either get home with the pass rush, both up the middle and putting the pressure on him, getting him off his spot, and making him throw off his back foot. He will do that, and he will throw interceptions doing that. So If you can do that, we have the guys on defense to be able to make up for it, and we're going to need to rely on the guys up front if Charvarius Ward isn't playing. Now, luckily, we do have good cornerback depth this year, right? Traded for Mekhi Blackman. In the first game, Tua throws the ball 23 times, completes 14 of them, and Xavier Howard, who took a year off of football, he comes back going up against what could be a high-powered offense. And even at his age, 32 years old, he was thrown at twice, didn't give up a catch, right? When he was directly in coverage, right? If we were in zone and you look at the tape, he might be the nearest defender, but typically when you go back and look at it, he was targeted twice, didn't give up a catch. So overall, he did really well. Kenny, I believe I saw that Kenny didn't give up a catch in the same situation. So, like, in terms of our man coverage and when we're blitzing, in week 1 it worked really well. In week 2, and they have just, frankly, I think the weapons in Miami are better than the weapons in Denver. Now, I do like Cortland Sutton, really good player. Troy Franklin, can't be overlooked, a name that a lot of Colts fans probably don't even know. I just said that name. You probably have no idea who that is. He's a second-year receiver. A lot of hype coming in to second year. He had a really good training camp for the Broncos. Had a pretty good rookie year, and he's taken on a bigger role this year. And then they have Marvin Mims, who can burn down deep. So there's definitely things that we have to look for. And Bo Nix is going to want to throw the ball deep. Right, so we have to be able to take that away. If we're sending a blitz, it has to get home, or Bo Nix can make us pay for it. But again, there's going to be ways to throw off the Broncos' offense. Okay, through this game, honestly, I would expect both teams to turn it over. Again, these are two really good defenses. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2, 3, 4 total turnovers between the two teams in this game. But I do think that from what we saw in week 1, from both of these teams, and the efficiency of the Colts offense and how Daniel Jones ran it, we have Jonathan Taylor, DJ Giddens, Tyler Goodson's coming back, the offensive line, all the weapons we have. Pat Surtain might take away Michael Pittman Jr., but we're good all across the field, and now we have Tyler Warren. Right now they have Evan Ingram. So again, this is two very similar teams right now. When you look at them, across the board, very similar teams, to be completely honest with you. So this is going to be a really good game, really good chess match. And of course, I think the Colts are going to come out on top of this. And I've been somebody who, if I don't think the Colts are going to win, I'll let you know I don't think the Colts are going to win. We did that plenty of times last year where I had to pick against the Colts because it just wasn't great for us last year. So would I be surprised if the Broncos win? No. Coming into the season, and when I did my season predictions, I had the Broncos beating us. In both of the different season prediction videos that I had the Broncos beating us. But after week 1 and seeing what both of these teams look like in real time, and seeing just how good this defense is early, I think we have a really good chance to come out of this game 2-0 for the first time in a long time. And so that's where I'm going to lean in this, saying that the Colts are going to be able to win. I think we're going to be able to do some of what Tennessee did last week and force Bo Nix and this offense into some mistakes. I think we're going to be able to run the ball, and really that's where our defense can't get killed. We have to be better against the run. If we let J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey get going, that could be a massive issue for us. But we have Jonathan Taylor. And with what Jonathan Taylor started doing last year before he dropped the ball in front of the goal line, I feel good about our ability to get that going and then using the play action. I think Alec Pierce is probably going to have a pretty decent game. I think Josh Downs and Tyler Warren are going to be dependent on this game, but really looking at Alec Pierce on the outside and Daniel Jones to be able to, have just enough time to be able to get the ball to him. That's going to be important too, right? The edge rushers for Denver are really good. We have to have the time to get the ball down the field to Alec Pierce, but I do think this is one where Alec Pierce has an advantage on his matchup. I think Tyler Warren has an advantage in his matchups in the middle of the field. field, and we can take advantage of those things, especially through play action when you get Jonathan Taylor rolling. So I think the Colts are going to win this game. Overall, my score prediction here is going to be, 23-17, 23-20, something of the sort. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a really good game. I think it'll be a hard-fought game, right? Maybe even, 2016. 20 Colts 20 Broncos 16. I could see being the case, but whatever the case, going to be a really good game. Really excited to see what the Colts are going to be able to do against a team that I expect to not only compete and be in the playoffs this year, but I've picked the Broncos to win their division this year. Right, so got a tall test coming up. Ready to see what we're going to be able to do. If we can beat the Broncos, especially if we beat them in a way where, like, we won the game instead of the Broncos losing the game, we can force them into mistakes and take advantage. It's time to put the league on notice. So, and the division, right? Been a while since we won the division too. So this game could have massive implications if we want to make the playoffs later in the year. Broncos, they want to make the playoffs later in the year. This game could be massive in terms of tiebreakers later in the year, and where both these teams are trying to win a division, this game could be massive for what we're looking for in the future, especially them being in the AFC West and having to deal with the Chargers and the Chiefs. So big time game, 4:05 semi-national. We're going to be live on the channel on Sunday, so please come hang out. We had a decent group in here this past Sunday for the first game, and now with optimism going up, I hope that number just continues to grow. Come hang out with us, come have a good time, and let's have a party as the Colts try to go for 2-0. So if you enjoy the content, and before we get to that, make sure you guys let me know what your predictions are. I love hearing what you guys think is going to happen in the game, what you think the score is going to be. You let me know down in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. And of course, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button. If you make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content, whether it's shorts, videos, we go live on Sundays, whatever the case may be. Want to be able to hang out with you guys, want to be able to hear from you guys. And of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.